the exercise hack that reduces your risks of death by 40%. According to a new study, a balanced regimen of moderate and vigorous activity, along with 2 muscle strengthening sessions a week, can reduce the risk of various forms of mortality. The study also found even greater reductions in mortality risk by exceeding current physical activity guidelines. The study suggests that clinicians should ease their physically inactive patients into a healthy mix of exercises. When it comes to lowering the risk of all-cause mortality or death from cardiovascular disease and cancer, is one form of exercise better than another? Or is there a particular combination of exercises that optimizes one's chances of longevity? A new study looks into the ideal combination of exercise types for living longer. It assesses various combinations of moderate aerobic physical activity, MPA, vigorous aerobic physical activity, VPA, and muscle strengthening activity, MSA. The study finds that a balanced amount of MPA, VPA, and MSA were most closely associated with a lower risk of dying, although the mix of activities depended on the type of mortality. The optimal combination for lowering the risk of all-cause mortality was greater than 0.75 minutes each week of MPA together with over 150 minutes of VPA, plus 2 or more MSA sessions each week. Cardiovascular disease, CVD, and cancer mortality was more than 225 minutes of MPA, more than 0.75 minutes of VPA, plus 2 or more MSA sessions. The 2020 World Health Organization exercise recommendations per week are 150 to 300 minutes of MPA, 75 to 150 minutes of VPA, or some relatively equivalent combination of them, plus MSA sessions on 2 days. The study also found that MPA exercise levels greater than the current recommendations may reduce the risk of mortality even further. With more than 300 minutes of MPA, greater than 0 to 75 minutes of VPA, and 2 or more MSA sessions per week, the researchers observed an approximately 50% lower mortality rate for all-cause and cancer mortality, along with a roughly 3-fold lower mortality rate for CVD mortality. The researchers analyzed data from the 1997 to 2018 U.S. National Health Interview Survey. It included 500,705 adults who were followed up for a median of 10 years, 5.6 million person-years. Participants ages 18-85 with a median age of 46.4 self-reported their exercise. Welcome to the Natural Intelligence Systems channel. If you enjoy this type of content, then subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on any of our latest and greatest uploads. How different types of exercise may aid health. A seemingly paradoxical finding of the study is that 2 times the amount of VPA was associated with a reduction in all-cause mortality risk, but twice the amount of MPA reduced the risk of cardiovascular and cancer mortality. MPA can be sustained for longer periods than VPA and MSA. It can be, therefore, a larger contributor to physical activity-related energy expenditure and weight maintenance or weight loss. MSA can contribute to the maintenance of muscle mass as we age. Maintaining muscle mass is beneficial for dozens of chronic conditions. These include type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and avoiding falls that can result in fractures, loss of mobility, and loss of independence as people age. Such conditions and events are often treated as age-related diseases, when in reality they are the result of the population being chronically inactive with little muscle mass to support healthy metabolic function and sarcopenia, said Professor Stamatakis. He noted at the same time that VPA and MSA offer benefits that MPA does not. VPA can improve cardiorespiratory fitness, for example. The study's corresponding author, Dr. Ruben Lopez Bueno from the Department of Physical Medicine and Nursing at the University of Zaragoza, Spain, said of MSA that prior research trusted source has observed an inverse association between MSA and cancer incidence, but mechanisms to explain the reasons under such phenomenon are still being investigated. MSA's effect on cancer risk. Strength training can lower circulating levels of sex hormones, reducing the risks of breast and endometrial cancer in women and prostate cancer in men. For cancer patients with cachexia, strength training may help manage muscle dysfunction. I won't jump to the conclusion that MSA reduces cancer yet. Although for some specific combinations it seems to trend that way, the overall patterns of the combinations involving MSA and not involving MSA are still quite similar, and the confidence intervals tend to overlap. It is possible that MPA, VPA, and MSA also have a combined effect, though the design of the study does not allow us to ascertain if there are synergistic effects among MPA, VPA, and MSA. Whether these separated effects of each type of physical activity have a synergistic effect among them remains unknown and should be further investigated. Each type of exercise matters in reducing death risk. The key message of these findings is that each type of physical activity matters in order to optimize mortality risk reduction. No isolated type of physical activity, or even the addition of two types of physical activity, even at higher levels, seems superior in terms of mortality risk reduction to the other three types combined. I think physicians should recommend participation in a range of activities, such as MPA, VPA, MSA, to the best of one's capacity. This is just one study. We struggle to get people to meet the recommended levels, so raising the bar is likely to discourage people even more. Clinicians should ideally tailor advice to baseline activity levels and ability levels. For physically inactive people, he said, a wiser goal would be to introduce moderate intensity walking with just a few bursts of VPA and then later on build up to undertaking muscle strengthening. And with that, we've reached the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for content just like it.